Yeah, I mean, probably in all areas. We played a Boston College team that was shorthanded. Obviously, their leading scorer, we knew their big fellow was going to be out, and then didn't know until we got here that Thornton would be out. He was a heck of a player, but they outplayed us, being shorthanded. And we're a team that if we're not ready and we're not right, we're not good enough to be sloppy in some of the areas of readiness, alertness, hustle plays. We can't absorb us not being at a high level of readiness. There's not a lot of teams in college basketball that can, but we definitely can't. And we were not right. And the bright spot was Cody Statman. I thought he showed some nice things in that game. But we've got a lot of work to do, and we showed our inexperience and our not only inexperience, just played poorly. And that's the bottom line.
Okay. Coach, how challenging is it when you've got Hop and Diakite with 2 fouls in the first half?
Yeah, no, that hurts certainly with Momedy. We have to make sound decisions. You got to play a readiness, alertness position. But then even some of the transition baskets, they had us losing guys. Again, if you look at it, like we call them unforced errors or self-inflicted wounds, so to speak, we had too many of those to overcome that. So with those guys, that was challenging. But there is a level of readiness. I thought we played with such great heart and passion and intensity against Virginia Tech. And I did not see that in the way it had to be here. You're on the road, but you all the more you have to bring a composure and an effort level that just was kind of seemed like it was lukewarm tonight for sure.
Take one in the front middle.
Tony, as well as you play defensively, come back on a 23 run. How much does that take out of you kids?
Yeah, I'm not so sure we played that well defensively, I'll be real with you. I mean, we had probably some stretches, but yeah, when you allow a team to, build a lead, and again, whether we miss some layups, can't capitalize on a 4-on-2, they hit a bank shot, from 3, and all of a sudden it stretches, you do have to expend a great amount of energy to get yourself back in the game. But we had our chances, and they made some plays, and Jimmy does a heck of a job, to do that with those guys. They run a lot of action, hard stuff to guard, and they've improved defensively this year with their intensity, their switching ball screens, and kind of forcing some action. It was a game where you had to make some plays off the dribble and be able to finish at the rim, and we had some trouble with that for sure.
Take one on the left and then Jeff.
So I think they threw 1-3-1 on one of his or something. But is that at all something different? Have you seen it before?
Yeah, they did a couple different things. Off of a free throw, they'd press. And then it was it looked like a zone, and I think they went back to man-to-man, and then underneath out of bounds, they sometimes stayed in the zone, or they'd stay in it for 2 or 3 passes, and so that was a little different, but we knew they had showed mostly man-to-man that they got us standing a couple times, and we didn't capitalize, and again, yeah, it was a little different and enough to make us stand, and then the shot clock got behind on us, and we didn't make the plays, but looked like a zone, went to a man, and sometimes it stayed, so they kept you guessing. Yeah. Terrific energy. He reminds me of a guy that I was fortunate to coach and a recruiter here named Isaiah Wilkins, who was heart and soul, effort, all over the glass, did things. And I remember I told that to Jimmy before. I said he reminds me of him last year, him as a freshman, and he brings such heart. He plays so hard, and I think we can learn from that. That's you see it. And it can't be a sometimes thing. It has to be all the time thing. And again, we did a great job with that last game and certain games. But at times, if it's not going well, you got to have your defense hold you in there. Your effort has to be at a high level. And it seemed like we were hot and cold. And Momedy's aggressiveness early on and picking up a couple fouls. You have to harness it and play with, again, both smarts and energy. But that hurt us because he's an energy guy for us. But, again, credit to them. And, yes, he is. He's a great lift for them, and I like the way he plays. I don't even know his stat line. Yep, that's Isaiah. Huh.
2 more for Jeff and then Bennett.
Yeah, about Mohamed, he scores on the first possession of the game, then he gets 2 fouls and goes back. That seemed to just kind of throw him off the rest of the night.
Yeah. I played him in this first half because I felt like the game was, they were starting to separate, and I said, well, we need to get something. We were having trouble, and he's a 5th year, and he's in a little different role this year, and we need him to be, again, assertive and look for stuff, but he can't pick up, some of the ones that are costly. And we'll look at the film and see, but sure, certainly it does. You get 2 quick fouls. I think it was in 90 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. First minute, yeah. So yep, we put him out and then brought him back in, and but.
Okay, last one.
Coach Braxton played well. How would you assess his play? And it looked like he fell on his wrist at the end. Is there any update there?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, he did some good things. Braxton plays hard and he's on the glass. He had a nice outside drive at the end. Thought that was one, and he up and under had trouble. We had some trouble finishing. Key had some trouble. We got in there and finishing some of those layups. Again, against Virginia Tech, he was terrific. Well, wasn't as much tonight getting in there, but Braxton, he played hard. Again, I think the tape's going to reveal some things that are going to sting and hurt, but you move on and get ready for the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.